Buckpasser, a bay horse by Tom Fool from the mare Bosenda, was the best horse ever bred by Jockey Club chairman Ogden Phipps. Ridden by Braulio Baeza and trained by Bill Winfrey at 2, he turned out for the 1965 Sapling Stakes at Monmouth Park. Buckpasser drew the rail post position and was virtually left at the start.
In the 1965 edition of the Sapling at Monmouth, 2 quick colts sprang to the lead. Quinta, closely followed by the favorite Armichael. Buckpasser, last by several lengths, is not even in the picture at this point. But suddenly, in a flash of black and cherry silks, Buckpasser not only sweeps into the picture, he abruptly moves up to 3rd. He is not yet a menace to the 2 leaders, and it seems possible that the quick move may have taken a lot out of him. At the head of the lane, Buckpasser and jockey Braulio Baeza, swinging wide, seem hopelessly beaten. But the swift early pace has taken a heavy toll, and Armichael begins to stop, with Quinta also shortening stride, while Buckpasser is moving like a fresh horse. In one of the best juvenile efforts of the year, Buckpasser goes on to beat good colts going away and win the Sapling by half a length.
At the end of the season, Buckpasser, having won 9 of 11 starts, was voted champion 2-year-old. In appearance, one of our most handsome champions, Buckpasser was, from the beginning, capricious in temperament. It was never more evident than in Florida at 3. The race at Hialeah would forever be called the Chicken Flamingo because management allowed only win betting in a race with a large field, fearing a huge minus pool. In the race, Stupendous, a stablemate of Buckpasser, was away quickly and opened daylight on a field that included Blue Skyer, Williamstown Kid, Rehabilitate, and Abe's Hope. Buckpasser, under Bill Shoemaker, was always close to the pace, and at the turn for home fell into the lead as all the speed horses stopped. With no competition in sight, the colt pulled himself up and loafed along. Suddenly, on the outside, Abe's Hope went flying by, making what looked like a winning move until Buckpasser saw him and decided to run again. The result was breathtaking. A quarter crack would keep him out of the Triple Crown, but grew out by midsummer. As might be supposed, Buckpasser was difficult to train. When Winfrey retired, Ed Neloy took over, and his assistant, John Campo, later to be famous as a trainer himself, took part of the Phipps stable west. At 4, Buckpasser had to be persuaded or tricked into working in the mornings, but he was very competitive. Baeza had said that Buckpasser would run down any horse he could see in front of him, and the tactics were to run relays of horses in the mornings at the big colt to ensure his interest. Ogden Phipps, Ed Neloy, and Braulio Baeza hoped he was ready to begin his 4-year-old campaign at Santa Anita. The race chosen was the 7-furlong Malibu Stakes, first of a series which would lead to the Rich Strub Stakes and Santa Anita Handicap.
There they go. King's Favorite, time to the front. Imperial Silk is second. Grin is third. Fleet Shoe is fourth. Yonder is fifth. Tinsley and Hill Clown. At the quarter, King's Favor on the rail in front by a head. Fleet Host on the outside is second, 2.5 lengths. Hill Clown is third. A half length. Tinsley is fourth. A length on 1/2. Drin is fifth. 3/4 of a length. Fleet Shoe. Buckpasser moving on the rail. At the half-mile post is King's Favor in front by 3/4 of a length. Fleet Host is second by 2 lengths. Hill Clown is third by a length on 1/2. On the outside, Drin is fourth by a head. Buckpasser is fifth. At turning for home, it's King's Favor in front by 1 length. On the outside, Fleet Host is second, a length on 1/2. Buckpasser is third by a head. On the outside, Drin into the stretch. Here comes Drin. On the outside is King's Favor. Drin on the outside and Buckpasser on the rail. Here comes Buckpasser on the rail. It's Buckpasser and Drin. Buckpasser, Drin, and King Favor. It's Buckpasser and Drin. They come down the line of finish. Buckpasser winning it by 1 length. Drin is second, 3/4 of a length. King Favor will stay.
Unfortunately, Buckpasser made only one other start in the West before hoof injury retired him to stud. His Jockey Club Gold Cup at 3 remains the classic example of his quality. He had already defeated older horses in the Brooklyn Handicap and Woodward Stakes, and this race would guarantee Horse of the Year honors. The Jockey Club Gold Cup was contested at 2 miles and started on the backstretch at Aqueduct this year since Belmont Park was being reconstructed. A strong, squally wind had blown up during the afternoon, and dust at times obscured the field. Past the stands the first time, the proven stayer Niarchos was on the lead, with Poker beginning to fade, Amberoid, and Buckpasser fourth under a tight hold. He would remain under restraint until the last 8th mile of the journey. On the backstretch, Buckpasser has moved into second behind Niarchos and is merely breezing along while the older horse is under some pressure. Baeza has no intention of opening a lead. He needs the presence of Niarchos alongside to keep Buckpasser's mind on his business. Niarchos would later win the important San Juan Capistrano at 1 mile and 3/4 on 2 occasions, so is a horse of some quality. But Buckpasser is pulling Baeza past while the jockey checks for possible competition from behind. Finally, Baeza allows his colt to run and his stride lengthens perceptibly. The impressive romp is over. Buckpasser won 13 of his 14 starts at 3, displaying intense speed by setting a new world's record for the mile in Chicago, and was unanimous choice as Horse of the Year in 1966.